a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one, one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Ah, you sound great. And stay standing for our next song. Rise up, oh my soul. 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 Let spirit flow. Rise up, oh my soul. Rise up, oh my soul. Show me the kingdom wherever I go. Heal the sick anywhere I walk. Anywhere I walk. Be my tongue anytime I talk. Anytime I talk. Make people love God. Make them stronger with every word. Help us see that heaven is all around. Rise up, oh my soul. Rise up, oh my soul. Rise up, oh my soul. Let spirit flow. Rise up, oh my soul. Rise up, oh my soul. Show me the kingdom wherever I go. Fill my heart with the courage to play. With the courage to play. Free my mind from yesterday. From yesterday. Tell people what's true. Let me know what's mine to do. Help me do it each and every day. Rise up, oh my soul. Rise up, oh my soul. Rise up, oh my soul. Let spirit flow. Rise up, oh my soul. Rise up, oh my soul. Show me the kingdom wherever I go. Show me the kingdom wherever I go. Show me the kingdom wherever I go.
Boy, if that doesn't get you going in the morning, I don't know what will. Let's give them another hand. Wow, that was gorgeous. Thank you, songbirds. Good morning, beloved spiritual community. I am delighted to see each and every one of you here this morning. I am Judy Chapman, and I am your assistant minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Capistrano Valley. Take a breath. Here we are. You know, it was 40 degrees this morning in San Clemente. And I have a friend in Montana, and it was minus 40 there, but it felt like minus 40 here. Because we are Californians, and if it gets below 60, forget it. So I got the heavy clothes on today. Heavy. So whoever you are, whatever path you're on, whatever spiritual journey you're on, you are welcome here. because we are a trans-denominational center, which simply means that we welcome all. We believe in diversity, we believe in equality, and we believe in you. So welcome home, welcome home. We start our service with the flames of faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence that we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring that Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and the path of peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as our practitioner, Faith Mackey, lights that last candle, please let it represent the path that brought you to this service this morning. And now please join me for 2 minutes of sacred silence.
So let's just come together in prayer. Just relax and just feel your feet. Just feel the presence of Spirit. For God is right here, right now. God is everywhere present. God lives in, through, and back of everything. And so I know that this energy that I call God is pure love of the purest form. God is peace, and God is harmony. God is expression. God is all-knowing. God is creativity, abundance, prosperity. God is all that we describe as good. God is all that. And since we are one and connected with this source, we are all that. So I know that this is the truth of who I am. This is the truth of each and every one of you. This is your truth as well. And so I know that this is a brand new year, a brand new baby day. And so I know that we are creators and we can create our existence and our reality any way that we choose. For we are never alone. We are always with Spirit. We are one with Spirit. God's mind is our mind, and our vision is God's vision. And God is operating through us to create and to live our wonderful dreams. And so I know with this new year and this new idea of what we want to do with our year and how we want to make it spectacular and make it just full of life and full of love, I know that God is present, helping us on our idea of what is perfect for us. And so with this wonderful idea, I'm so grateful. And so I anchor it in to the manifesting law that it is. And together we all anchor it by saying, and so it is. Thank you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to read the global vision. But before we do that, anybody here that's new and don't know that, if you want the full copy of it, it's in the foyer when you first walk in. There's a copy of it. So you're welcome to take one. Okay, so let's get started. We see a world that works for all, where humanity rediscovers personal creative power, where we live as one global family, where communities are involved in meaningful service to the world, and where there is peace, harmony, and justice for all. Okay, so now we're going to read today's affirmation. And today's affirmation, on this new day, I believe that anything is possible, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith. Now it is with great joy that I welcome to the platform the extraordinary and dynamic James Higgins.
Thank you, Karen. On this day, I say pray, and on this day, I bow my head, and on this day, I take a vow, and on this day, God showed me how. Lord, I know that I've been resisting you. Still your light keeps shining through. God, I pray this simple prayer.
Thank you so much. That was really wonderful. I'm glad sorry we played hide and seek with your mic. I'm glad we could support you. Let's give James another hand. Well, welcome everyone to the Centers for Spiritual Living, Capistrano Valley. My name is Reverend Alice Reid, and I'm the spiritual director here. And this is my first day on the platform in this brand new baby year of 2024. I had the opportunity to go back east and visit family and long not lost, but long friends that I've had for many years. As many of you know, I'm originally from Baltimore. I lived there for about 45 years, and it does the body good to go home once in a while. But I am glad to be back here at my West Coast home of Centers for Spiritual Living. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about today, and one of them is that we have a couple of classes coming up. There's a visioning class that's starting. It'll be on Wednesday morning. It's actually starting this week, and our beloved Mary Brogdon, who helps to prepare all the materials, really needs to know if you're going to be coming to the class this Wednesday. It is a prerequisite class if you're thinking about going on and taking a practitioner course that we'll be teaching in the fall. So please let us know if you're coming to that class. The other class that I see a lot of new faces here today. You know, it's the new year, and I know it's often what happens in the new year is we try new things and we check out new things. Well, we will be having a foundations class starting on February 5th. It'll be on Zoom. It'll be on Monday nights, and it'll be taught by our very own Dave Friedman, who the jack of all trades. He's running the soundboard today. Sometimes he plays the piano. Sometimes he teaches class. And so if you're interested in that, we're calling that class Basic Skills for Living an Authentic Life. And it is a great introductory class if you're new to this philosophy and you want to know more about it. So consider those two things as we move through the morning. Last week, we had a great talk from our very own Reverend Judy Chapman. She kicked the year off. It was wonderful. We have this annual theme that we're working with called A Grand Rising, and the idea is to really embody the teaching and to really walk it out into the world. Grand Rising is a Caribbean term, and it's not about just waking up in the morning. It's about having a grand rising, really opening ourselves up to each new day. The other thing that happens at Centers for Spiritual Living, centers like this all around the world, all over the country, in Canada, in Latin America, sprinklings in other countries, is that we look at some of the basic tenets of what we teach. And so last week, in addition to launching our new theme, Reverend Judy talked about the thing itself. There's a textbook that we often refer to called The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. And in that, the first 4 chapters really cover a lot of the basic principles about what we teach. The first chapter is the thing itself, and then we have the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. And those first 4 chapters, for you long-timers who've been around for a while, are really the description of the creative process. They talk about, in detail, how we work with this thing called spirit, universal wisdom. I like to call it the thing that makes the grass grow. It's how we work with that power that is imbued in all life in our daily lives. And so that creative process is the process for how all reality is created. Athletes know that when they get ready to train for a big event, that they hold the end in mind, that they begin to embody the idea of competing and racing and crossing that finish line. Well, all of your life can be approached that way. You can use the power of your embodied beliefs to create your experience. sometimes that gets a little tricky for people. Sometimes they think, oh, I had this thought about, that was negative, and oh, am I going to create that? Notice that I said it's your embodied beliefs that create your experience. It's those beliefs that are so true to who you are that sometimes you don't even know they're there. They're the things that are deep in our subconscious. They're the ideas that were implanted in us by our parents and the people who brought us up in the world. They're the ideas that you consciously chose to propagate and cultivate within your belief system. And they're the ideas that you've accepted wholesale without question. And so when we work with the creative process and this philosophy, it really is about conscious embodiment of our belief systems. It's about looking, looking underneath the hood to see what it is that we're carrying around in our thought sphere. In all the sphere of all our thoughts and the things that we have come to believe. And so when we look at those first 4 chapters, some of you are familiar with the simplistic description of the creative process, where we have the seed that gets planted in the soil of law. The seed is the idea or the embodied belief, gets planted in the soil or the law, and then it's the plant that comes from that seed that we plant in our consciousness that manifests. And so if you look at those first 4 chapters, the thing represents the seed, the thing itself. The soil or the principles that we're working with represent the way it works. The plant or the manifestation represents that 3rd chapter of what it does. And then I'd like to think of that last chapter about how it works as gardening 101, right? Gardening 101. How do we work with this process called the creative process? How do we begin to consciously involve ourselves with this thing called life that we're living day in and day out? And so if you are curious about this philosophy, those first 4 chapters are really a great roadmap that'll help you to understand what we're talking about and give you a greater meaning for a lot of the things I'm going to share today. And so Judy already talked about the thing itself, a thing that makes the grass grow. You might call it God, you might call it the Christ consciousness, you might refer to it as universal truth, divine wisdom. It is the energy that moves through all life that is undeniable when you think about it. It is undeniable that there is something larger than us that is behind what we experience, this thing called life. And so today I'm going to talk about the way it works. And the way it works is it works through something we refer to as the law or principle. And that principle is impersonal. It doesn't question your embodied belief system. It doesn't debate with you. If you have a belief that life is hard, and if it's something that, especially folks who had parents who came up during the Depression, we might have heard that from them, that life is hard, there's never enough. I remember my stepfather who he actually was a teenager during the Depression, and it was difficult enough for them that they ate lemon curd, as was how his mother was getting some of the citrus into them, and so he could never eat lemon meringue pie. You would bring it out, and he'd be like, "Oh." Those ideas that get planted in us, rooted in us so deeply into our consciousness that we don't even know that they're there sometimes until we have an experience that we don't care for. We have an experience that's unwelcome. We have an experience with life that is difficult. And then, and only then, we often turn to and try to look at what it is that we're carrying around in our consciousness and what it is that needs to change. And the beauty of this philosophy is that we're empowered, and I'm going to say that word again, we're empowered to begin to understand how we use our mind, the things that we think, the things that we accept. And we begin to consciously be more selective. I know, as maybe many of you have had the same experience, I came to this teaching and I still have a very active mind. My teacher used to say that the mind is like a box full of puppies. You know, one is always climbing out of the box and you're trying to keep them contained. But in this particular philosophy, we learn how to work with our thoughts so that we can work with this thing called the law that is forever receiving unquestionably, unequivocally what it is we believe. And I think it's really important to think about our belief system as what it is we embody. We're also looking at this idea of a new day. So every year when we come back to these first 4 chapters, the black ink on the white paper may not have changed, but you have. You're different. You're different when you come back. When we come back to basics, when we begin to look at these ideas, you are different. You have a different perspective. You are not the same person you were a year ago when we began to talk about these basic principles that we live by in this community. And so this is indeed a new day. And the cool thing I like to think about with the way it works is when we begin to understand the inner workings of the creative process, anything is possible. If you're struggling, if you're having a hard time, that might not be easy to swallow when you're in the middle of something. But certainly you can look back on your life and think about the things that you've moved through, and you can see how there was eventually a shift. There was something that changed. It was either something that changed internal to you or something that changed external to you, but something shifted. And so when we look at this creative process and the way it works, anything is indeed possible. And so I actually want to couple this idea of working with the law and anything is possible with Martin Luther King weekend. Because if you think about it, there was a time in our country when racism was acceptable. There was a time when we didn't stand up for anything different, when we didn't look at the way human beings were treated. We just allowed it. Even in our own movement of Centers for Spiritual Living, which at one time was called Religious Science, there was a science I have the year here, it was back in 1945, the Science of Mind magazine editor listed all the Science of Mind centers worldwide. And at the bottom of the list, they listed a designation of colored centers. And there was a center it was called the Third Church of Religious Science. It was in the Southern California area. And Ernest Holmes himself decided to intervene. There was a little bit of a cry for this isn't right. And that community reached out to Ernest Holmes, and he showed up in that community and he shared this with them, making sure that we would no longer separate ourselves. This is a teaching of oneness. And so for us to designate a colored center was not in concert, not in integrity with what we teach. And so he said this: I have been told that too many non-Caucasians attend these lectures. True, there are Caucasians and non-Caucasians in this congregation, but we must affirm We are all one living body of God, one God that permeates all, without exception, one intelligence that governs all, and most important, every man and woman who abides in the universe is a significant entity in the one universal consciousness. Our doors will forever be open to all. Whoever you are, be proud you are a divine idea in the mind of God. This was in 1945. Ernest Holmes and many other people like him were preparing the soil, if you will, for change, standing up for oneness, standing up for unified humanity. And by the time we got to the 50s and 60s, in the days of Martin Luther King, we were ready to begin to challenge, to stand up for unity, to stand up for oneness, to stand up for love. But it required that we questioned old ideas. I know many of you sitting in here today, maybe even those of you that are, born after 1985, many of you probably can't imagine a world where that was acceptable. So when we think about this idea of principle and the law, it does require that we put something into it. If Ernest Holmes and those like him in the mid to late 40s and into the 50s and 60s didn't stand up for a higher idea, then in the level of consciousness would remain this acceptableness for racism. So the question that I want to ask you is, what is it that you might be allowing or accepting in your consciousness that no longer deserves to be in the garden of your mind and soul? What is it that you're ready to let go of? Because this science of mind practice, this philosophy, is not a positive thinking philosophy where you can just, I'm going to think good thoughts and everything will be okay. We must root out those ideas that don't support what it is we want to experience in a world that works for everyone. We must mature as a philosophy if we are going to step into a new day. We have this beautiful vision about a world that works for all. We read a portion of it, we switch around, there's 12 or 13 statements, and we read 3 new ones every month, and we try to embody these highest ideas that we have for humanity. But I guarantee you that within each one of us are ideas that are not in alignment with those beautiful vision statements. And so our work, just like Ernest Holmes did in 1945 when he stood up and said, we're all one, we are not going to differentiate between one type of member and another. We need to look at our own, I'll call them biases. We need to look at those places in us that aren't supportive of those beautiful visions for humanity. And we can do that in places like this. We can do that in communities where we'll hold your hand, you take a class, you begin to really, sort of open up the lid and see what's inside. Look at those ideas that you might be carrying around that keep you in suffering. We have a great workshop, and you'll hear more about it later today, a grief workshop. I have found that for me, personally, grief has been a blessing and a curse. And I'm sure you'll hear that from our presenter, and I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I will say that oftentimes when I have experienced grief, it has been like a grand cleaning out. It's almost like Moses parting the Red Sea. Something opens up in me that wasn't open in me before, and then I can consciously and intentionally begin to cultivate what it is I want to experience, what it is I want to put back in place. It can be a wonderful opportunity. And I know that sounds a little morose sometimes if you're suffering from losing a loved one, but it really can be an opportunity for us to open up and to experience more love and to clear out those things that are in our consciousness that are no longer serving us. The Reverend who helped to put together the outlines this month, her name is Reverend K.C. Taylor, and she writes, as religious scientists, our job is to treat and move our feet. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. In the invitation to participate in a collective grand rising, it is incumbent upon each of us to do our own healing work in the internal and to look at our bias. Though gender and racial equality were never explicitly discussed in the textbook, Ernest Holmes himself was an advocate for equality. And she goes on to tell a story about the triangular church of Los Angeles, which I shared with you was listed under the colored section in our magazine. What I know is that sometimes the fear of change, even if what we're experiencing is uncomfortable, even if what we're experiencing is unacceptable, is the thing that will keep us stuck. And so it is our faith, it is our understanding of these principles and how they work, and it is the love that we wish to embody and experience that carries us through that faith and into that new day of understanding that we wish to embody. Many of you know that I'm a huge fan of Richard Rohr. Richard Rohr is a Franciscan monk who is unlike any standard Christian. He's really a religious scientist. He works in consciousness. He speaks our language. He talks about non-dualistic spirituality. And in this morning's, it was so perfect, in this morning's reading, he wrote this: all the great religions at the more mature levels learn and teach a different consciousness, which we call the contemplative mind, the non-dual mind, or the Christ consciousness. The levels of spiritual development begin with dualistic, exclusionary, either-or thinking and become increasingly non-dual, allowing for a deeper, broader, wiser, more inclusive and loving way of seeing. If we are to live on this earth, we cannot bypass necessary tensions of holding contraries and inconsistencies together. So he's talking about not bypassing those uncomfortable feelings, not bypassing the things that are unlovely, not bypassing the ideas that we have in our own lexicon of thinking that maybe we don't think we should have. He says we need to, that daily, ordinary experiences teach us non-duality in a way that is not theoretical or abstract. It becomes obvious in everything and everybody, every idea and every event, almost hidden in plain sight. He's talking about holding the tension. Anybody feeling a little tension in our society, in our culture right now? Some of you might be afraid one candidate's going to get in office versus another. Some of you might be very concerned about climate change. There's a lot that's bubbling up in the news and in the collective consciousness. And so Richard Rohr is suggesting that before we take any action, that we hold the tension, that we sit in the stillness to see what wants to rise up in us so that we can be grounded in spirit, grounded in principle, and then to take action from there. He says this is very difficult for most people, largely because we have not been taught how to do this mentally or emotionally. We didn't know we could or even should. Oftentimes when I have worked with someone who is grieving, it's very tempting. I remember my mother when she lost my stepfather. The first thing she wanted to do was tear everything up in the house, empty it out, like organize everything. It gave her a sense of control, and there's nothing wrong with that. But know how you're moving through whatever it is that you're having tension around. Recognize the consciousness or the thought patterns that are causing you to take action, and see if you can't create a little stillness or a pause so that you can better know your mind, so that you can better choose your actions, so that you can better work with this thing called the creative process, so that you can indeed have the opportunity to create a new day. It's not for sissies. It's not for sissies. It's easier to, pretend we have control over everything. I know this because, not because I read it in a book, although I did. It's because I've experienced it. We all want to feel safe. But we can find safety in stillness. We can find safety in pausing. We can find safety in exploring the ideas that we might be carrying that keep us in a place of fear, so that we can begin to work with the creative process and our thoughts and the experiences that we have around us in a way that is conscious and intentional, that gives us freedom, that gives us joy, that gives us whatever it is that you might be seeking in this thing called life. As religious scientists, it's time for us to mature. We have done a great job in the first 100 years of self-realization, of beginning to really understand how we can do that deep self-care. And now it's time for us to do the community building part, where we walk it out as mature spiritual beings, beginning to open up and make way for a more just, harmonious, united society. This science and mind stuff is deep, and it offers you anything you want. Anything. So I welcome you to ride along with us over the next couple of weeks. It's hard to talk about one chapter without talking about the other. I noticed in Judy, she did a great job of bringing in some of the other elements. It is hard to talk about the thing itself without talking about the way it works and without talking about what it is and how to use it. But we'll be exploring that from different lenses over the next couple of weeks. And so I hope that you will join us on this path of everything old is new again. Thank you very much. And so one of the things that we do is something called affirmative prayer. And so I hope you'll join me as I speak a word of prayer for each and every one of us. And so I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze, to be in that place of stillness, to let go of any concerns you might have right now, knowing you can pick them up as you leave today, so that we can drop into that deeper awareness of the divine mind, the divine spirit, that beautiful intelligence and wisdom that is forever wanting to move through us. For what I know about the creative process is its only outlet, its only way to express is through each one of us. And so I welcome you to invite Spirit to move through you. I welcome you to allow Spirit to illuminate your mind and your heart, and to investigate your thoughts, and to consider what it is that you're leaving behind in 2023 and what you want to experience in 2024. I welcome you to feel and to know that this is a safe place, that here is where you can allow those ideas to come forward. Here is where you will be supported. Here is where you will find what it is you have been longing for. And so we simply open ourselves to possibility, not needing to know how it comes about, not even needing to know the big picture, just having the willingness to be part of the divine creative process as it continues to evolve, as it continues to create a better world, a better culture, a better society. It needs each one of us. And so this is your invitation. It's your invitation to use the law, to use principle, to be part of creating a better world and a world that works for all. So we simply bless this opportunity. We allow it. We take it in. We know that love will illuminate the way. As we simply anchor this prayer in that deep willingness and love that lives within each one. And it is with gratitude that I let this prayer go, knowing that it is the law that makes it so. It is principle that helps me to embody any new idea in this new day. I let it go. I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. And now I would like to bring back up the band and our guest musician today, James Higgins.
We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. Just as sure as the sun will rise, I know that Spirit watches over me, and I know that I'm protected from any harm that comes to be. We are held in the hands of grace. Put your trust and your faith in God, and you will never be alone again. When your heart becomes connected to your soul, then you will be free to be held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. When your heart becomes connected to your soul, then you will
absolutely beautiful. Let's give him another hand. Thank you, James. Thank you so much. So beautiful. And I want to thank John Henry for being our guest pianist this morning, and Anthony for being our guest drummer. Thank you, Anthony. And of course, Lou and Ed are always welcome, always thankful for you. Thank you for a wonderful band. And our songbirds, wow, they're just dynamite. Thank you. Ah, geez. It's time for our committed giving, conscious committed giving. If my stewards would please come forward. If this is your day to give, that's wonderful. If this is your day to bless the basket, that's wonderful too. We have blessing cards that are behind the chairs, and they say this: in deep gratitude for all my blessings, I place this card in the basket. I ask that these offerings be blessed, appreciated, and multiplied. It is my honor to give my blessing in this way. Thank you, God, Spirit, Universe. So let us say our prosperity affirmation together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply, and it symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen.
As these financial gifts circulate throughout our community, know that each recipient is blessed with divine abundance. We are so grateful for the energy of God as money. Thank you, God, for this gift of prosperity, and so it is. I have met several new people this morning. So if you're a guest at our center for the first time, if you will raise your hand, we will hand you a little bag, and there's a gift in there. And also, if you take it to the bookstore, there's another gift for you. Over here, raise your hand up in the front row over here. Keep your hand up. Gina up here in the front row also. 3 right here. There. Let's give our new guests a warm welcome. Welcome to our center. Welcome home. We have volunteers that, you know, it takes a village, doesn't it? It really does. So if you have been in service this month, would you please stand so we can acknowledge? That's everyone that's in service. We'll acknowledge. Thank you so much. A portion of these people are people we call practitioners. And practitioners are, they have studied and they are skilled in the art and the science of affirmative prayer. And on Sunday mornings, we have 3 practitioners for you, 2 in the back over here and 1 in the Tranquility Room, that if you've hit a bump in your road, and we all have those bumps, we need to and we can't see the forest for the trees. We have people here that are practitioners that can pray with you. And we will have your prayer will be put into given to all of our practitioners for the entire week. So please avail yourself to that. Our practitioners today are Faith Mackey, Paula Manis, and Jill Burnett. Thank you so very much. Paula has been holding the consciousness for us this entire service. We call it the High Watch, and it's really quite an honoring thing to do. We're praying for, when you're holding the High Watch, you pray for the entire congregation, that they are open and receptive to hear the message, from our wonderful Reverend Alice, and to hear the message from the beauty and the beauty of the music and everything. So thank you, Paula, for holding the High Watch for us today. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to invite Janice Hope up to the platform right now to say a few words about our workshop this afternoon.
Well, I just want to say I'm so deeply grateful to be here today in this beautiful center, and I know that my dear friend Dina had a lot to do with this, and so did Lee. So with that being said, I want to say that my husband and I traveled for 3 days from Baja. We have a home down there, and to get to the beautiful memorial that Lee had for Dina last Sunday. And something came up for me, and I had a health issue, and I had to dig deep into what that was all about, and thank God I got it. So it was like, no, not now. We came all this way. And then it was a kind of a miraculous kind of little thing. A couple days later, I looked down at my phone, and I saw a message from Reverend Alice. And I had not received their emails and said, oh, we're expecting you this Sunday. And I was like, really? Wow, this is so wonderful, so amazing. So I'm deeply grateful to be here. And I just want you to know that Lee and Dina were very dear friends of mine and clients of mine up in Idlewild, where they had a place, or maybe still have a place. And so it was really a wonderful thing to be invited after this wonderful memorial that I missed. 8 years ago today, well, not exactly this day, I had a tragic loss, and I received a call from one of my sons and said that one of my sons had been shot. And actually he had shot himself. And the agony of that news ripped through me like a freight train. You can imagine. It was the worst thing a mother could possibly go through. And it's still, when I think about that moment, I can't help but get emotional. I always will, and it's part of the healing to feel that emotion and to honor it. So I do. It is amazing how such a tragedy has led me down this new path. After Kevin's death, it became clear to me how his spirit was strong and clear. He helped me write a book about how love never dies. We had many communications, and I kept this journal going for many years. And so I will be sharing that book with you, our communications with you today, and also how this took me into a whole new line of work, which is now I'm a grief educator and a public speaker and motivational speaker for this thing called grief. and healing our hearts through pain and loss. And it's really quite an honor to be here. And I want to tell you a few things that you can expect in the workshop today. We're offering some powerful tools and techniques to understanding the healing process of grief, increasing your receptivity for your inner guidance, asking and accepting support for life's challenges, increasing compassion for yourself and others, opening your awareness to the love around you, and receiving messages from your departed loved ones. We hope you'll join us at 1 o'clock today. Thank you so much.
12 o'clock. And those of you that are staying for the workshop, we have provided a light lunch for you also. Okay, and now I want to welcome to the platform Clark Wilson.
My people. It's going to be a good workshop this afternoon, so I want to acknowledge everyone for showing up for that. A Conscious Connection will not meet today due to the workshop starting at noon. Conscious Connection will resume next week at 11:50 to 12:20. Now next Sunday, January 21st, Adult Sunday School class begins from 12:30 to 2 p.m. Reverend Alice will conduct a 12-week discussion series called Rescuing Jesus from Fundamentalism. Easy for you to say. It will be a drop-in class. It is offered on a love offering basis. No registration is required and no commitment to attend every class. We think it will be a great deal of fun to discuss some old ideas about the historical Jesus, and you will want to attend the full series. We have decided to offer this class on Zoom as a hybrid class if you prefer to participate from home while you're munching your lunch. Reverend Alice's new class, Visioning a Way of Life, begins this Wednesday at 10 a.m. Register online as soon as possible so that we can prepare class workbooks before Wednesday. That's happening here, correct? Yeah, okay. This Wednesday evening, 6:30 to 8 p.m., you're invited to join Dr. Christian Steele for his class, Meditation for Everyday Life. And speaking of classes on Zoom, Coach Dave Friedman, my personal friend, will teach an online class starting on Tuesday, February 6th, that's Tuesday. This will be an evening class from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. The 10-week class is called Basic Skills for Living an Authentic Life. It is a good fit for students new to the Science of Mind philosophy. Online registration for this class begins this Tuesday. I believe we used to call this Foundations class. Am I correct? Yeah, okay. We have 3 weekly small group activities which are open to anyone and everyone. We have Wednesdays with Mary, a book study at 9 a.m. on Zoom. The current book is called The Four Pivots by Sean Ginwright, and I believe he's PhD, if I'm not mistaken. On Thursdays, we have Shifting Sands, which is a weekly discussion group. On Fridays, Joyce Fournier hosts a Zoom meeting at 8 a.m. for connection and healing of body, mind, and spirit. Now, full details about these and other activities here at CSLCV are provided in this lovely flyer with a mandala, which is located on the table in the lobby, or on the extremely creative and absolutely informative pop-up video located on the website at cslcv.org. Now, please stand and sing.
1, 2, 3. Right here, right now, I'm gonna make a brand new start. Right here, right now, I'm gonna make a change in my heart. Everything I need, I now receive, and it's done unto me as I believe. Right here, right now, where I am. Right
right here, right now, where I am, know with me that we are indeed the gift God in form today, and so it is.
One, two.